right, let me go to the phone lines. Alex, you online? Do I have my brother online? No.
Pay attention. On the line, Alex Moore-Minott. Alex, my brother, good morning. How you doing?
Morning, sis. Morning. Peace and love and respect.
Yeah, to you too, my brother. Good to have you online. You were in studio with me last week. But quickly, Jack Mansong. Tell our listeners quickly, who was and is Jack Mansong?
Well, contrary to popular belief, Chief Mansong was a leader of Blue Mountain Maroons. Mm-hmm. He was a Maroon, and there was a misunderstanding in his camp, in his community. And he broke away from the setting that was there. He didn't want a treaty with the British. He didn't want any parley with the British. He didn't want any partnership with them. He wanted them out, and that was the vision of Grande Nanny as well. He just wanted them out. He wanted a free, indigenous, tribal Jamaica.
And that is why he's been vilified in the British history.
Correct.
Hold up, let me take a quick break.
The time by Burger King is
now a minute after 7 o'clock. Alex Moore-Minott on the phone lines. We're talking about Jack Mansong and how he's being vilified, or he has been vilified by the history that has come to us, or the misinformation that has come to us through the British records. So he's really a hero who fought against the treaty, as Nanny fought against the treaty. So where exactly was he being a warrior in Portland?
He was based in St. Thomas. At the time they called it St. Thomas in the East.
Yes.
It was one of the first so-called parishes christened by the British, and it was always an indigenous stronghold. So he was actually between Portland and St. Thomas at the time, through the Kuno Wood or Kuno Pass, which is the ancient mountain road.
Yes.
Between so-called Portland and St. Thomas, which was established by our island Arawak ancestors. And through that road and through other mountain trails, he led a relentless war and struggle against the colonizers.
Yes, and the narrative has been retold. The history has been retold, and a storyboard was put up. Where was the storyboard placed?
It was out. They say 12 Mile. I think that's what they call out there. So out by on the way going into to St. Thomas proper, near to the border between St. Andrew and St. Thomas.
And this storyboard would have been in a quick synopsis, given the true story of the man that Jamaica calls Three Finger Jack, who's really Jack Mansong. What has happened to the storyboard?
Well, unfortunately, it has been bulldozed. It marked his lookout spot that he used, his perch basically, looking out into the sea. That's where he would see the arriving British ships of trade and war, etc. They wanted to put the new highway between Kingston and St. Thomas, and I guess they found it necessary to run the highway directly through that very important portion of his territory. As is said on the storyboard, it's called his territory and his country, right? And we know through Maroon oral history that he was a chief. There was a Maroon brother and sister out there holding it down. Just maybe 2 or so months before the destruction of the monument, their lives were destroyed. They were murdered under extremely mysterious circumstances. We're not sure why, but once they were out of the way, the road was cut. And the sign discarded. It was tossed in the bush. bush.
Oh. Tory come to bomb because we were wondering about that mysterious killing of the brother and sister, you know.
Yeah, we're not making any allegations, but we're thinking that it's extremely convenient.
We're going to put it in context, yes, because we're not trying a case, but we'll put it in context because we're deep
Exactly.
because we're deep thinkers.
It looks funny.
And so what has happened to the storyboard, to the signboard?
Well, as I said, after the destruction of the spot, the bulldozing of the spot, it was tossed in the bush, which makes us wonder what is the position of the Jamaica National Heritage Trust in terms of their duty of care and their fiduciary duty. Because we have a trust, the West Indian Tribal Society, and you mentioned it in my bio last week. And we are working on the preservation of all things indigenous. So once we realized what had happened, we took possession of the storyboard. And we now have it at an undisclosed location in safekeeping. And we're hoping that we can sit down with the Heritage Trust. We're hoping we can sit down with the Ministry of Culture and speak about the true curation and stewardship of his territory and consider what is to happen with the territory and the land that Chief Mansong fought for. We know that he had people with him. We know that he established a new Maroon community so that his people be liberated. We need to speak about those realities and what is to happen with his posterity, his estate.
Yes, it don't fit into their own narrative, which is the colonial miseducation. You see, so brush it down and dash away and bill a road through the territory, because this is only going to embolden people that you can stand up against the system. But I know you're raising this in other spaces, and you've raised it here in this space, and we're calling on the Jamaica National Heritage Trust to immediately contact you and to find out about the monument, the sign, and to talk about that whole space that is called the territory of Jack Mansong, and to return Jack Mansong to his rightful place in Jamaica.
And just before, and because I know you're strapped for time, but just before you go, it is said that a slave boy cut off his hand and his head, and it was preserved in rum, in jars, and carried to the Jamaica archives. And we are wondering if, I'm moved to tears. I'm wondering if it is that they still have those remains, where those remains are, and if it will be possible to have those remains repatriated and properly buried under the indigenous circumstance and spirituality that would be necessary for a chief like him. And we're hoping that you will help us to spread the word and get to other media houses.
Most certainly. As a matter of fact, as you put that out, we're putting out Paul Bogle too. We need the return of Paul Bogle's skull, because some people didn't have Paul Bogle's skull. I drink out of from here in Jamaica all the way. Yes. These are the stories that we know, and this is in the oral tradition of the people. There's some people, you know. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time, because we don't have time. But we have to look at what has happened to the skulls, the head, the entrails, the hand, the foot, in the same way they did with our brother Patrice Lumumba. The other day they returned only his gold tooth. They returned the other day. I mean, it's these people are demonic. Anyway.
Yes, and you wonder why are they holding on to this?
They know why they're holding on to it, but we leave that for now. And we trample that underfoot fire.
Yes, sister.
Give thanks, my brother. Give thanks.
Yes, sister. Respect.
Give thanks.
And love.
We refuse to be what you wanted us to be.
Bring back Jack Mansong head and hand and foot. Bring back Paul Bogle's skull. When you don't know it, go. Those are the reasons, you know, for some of the judgment on this island, is that you have the skulls and the heads and the entrails and the hands and the feet of our heroes.